Hello, everyone. Welcome to Teaching Hour with me, Ambassador Wyatt. Go get your pen, pencil, paper, or pad because this is Teaching Hour. Hello. Welcome to Teaching Hour with me, Ambassador Wyatt. Today's lesson comes from Jeremiah chapter 17, verses 7 through 8. And it reads, "Blessed is the man who trusts in the Lord and whose hope is in the Lord. For he shall be like a tree planted by the waters, which spreads out its roots by the river, and will not fear when heat comes, but its leaf will be green, and will not be anxious in the year of drought, nor will cease from yielding fruit." So the thing that I want you to look at first here, the first two words, or the first two important key things here to underline, if you have Jeremiah 17 verses 7 through 8 available to you, the first two important key things here to underline are the words "in the Lord" and "is the Lord." Because the Lord is the biggest factor in this sentence. Then it says, "For he shall be like a tree planted by the waters." I want you to understand that this is a metaphor. It is a figure of speech. The word "he" is referring to the one who trusts, relies, and has confidence in the Lord and the Lord, period. Let's look at some definitions for some words here. The first word we're going to look at is blessed. Now, blessed here in Hebrew, it means to kneel. But I want you to understand it means more than to kneel. It also means, or you have to understand, that the Lord is not just kneeling. He is doing something to you with his hand. I'm going to say it again. This word "blessed" here in Hebrew means to kneel. But the Lord is not just kneeling. He is doing something to you with his hand. The word "trust" with an S here means to rely continually on his will. But it's not just continually relying on him in his will. It is also continually allowing him to be the Lord, master, ruler in your life. Allowing the Lord to place his hand on you to be under his control. You see, understand that he's got his hand on you and you're under his ruling for an outcome to produce. When the Lord's hand is on you because you rely on his will, you would be placed, or you would be put in a place of nourishment and security. Let me give you a physical picture of what you look like, metaphorically speaking. Because the word, if you go back to Jeremiah 17, 7 and 8, it reads, "Blessed the man who trusts in the Lord and whose hope is in the Lord, for he shall be like a tree planted by the waters, which spreads out his roots by the river, and will not fear when heat comes, but its leaf will be green, and will not be anxious in the year drought, nor will cease from yielding fruit." So here is a physical picture. And when I say a physical picture, I'm giving you a picture of a tree. A picture of what you would look like, metaphorically speaking, when you trust in the Lord and the Lord, period. And I'm going to break this down metaphorically speaking, because the word tells us you will be like a tree planted by the waters. That's what it says. You will be like a tree planted by the waters. So let me show you a physical picture of the idea of this tree. So here's a tree. There's 3 trees. And you have one tree that's single, the next one is double, and the third one is triple. And this is what you call staking a tree. And there's many reasons why you would stake a tree. One, it's newly planted. It's newly planted. And if the tree is exposed to high wind on a regular basis, or if the tree is in areas of high traffic, you want to stake the tree. So one reason why you want to stake a tree is because of high wind, because of high traffic, because it's not standing up straight, and you can use 1 or 2 sticks or stakes. You will also stake a tree if the tree's root ball moves in the soil when you hold the trunk. And if you gently move it back and forth, you will use 2 stakes. So metaphorically speaking, the word tells us that you would be like a tree planted by the waters. And I just showed you a picture of a tree that is newly planted and why it will be staked. And this word stake, you gotta understand, is being staked for a reason. So I want you to think of this way. If you bought a tree, put it in the ground, and when the wind blows, it makes the tree lean. But in order for the tree not to lean, you attach a stake or stick on the side of it, or both sides of it, or you give them 3. So that the tree will be stable, firm, and upright, so it would grow. So likewise, when you believe, trust, rely with hope and confident expectation in the Lord and the Lord alone, it says, blessed is the man. This is also pertaining to a woman, male, female, child, young or old, whose trust and hope is in the Lord and the Lord alone. So the idea of this tree, to explain to you, is that you would be like this tree. And that he's got his hand on you and you're under his ruling for an outcome to produce. When the Lord's hand is on you because you rely on his will, you will be put in a place of nourishment and security. You are planted, or in other words, transplanted, because remember, when the tree got staked, that's because it's been transplanted to another place. Stay with me. It was transplanted to another place. Or in other words, the Lord takes you out of one place and plants you in another, meaning that you may proclaim the praises of him who called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. That's 1 Peter 2:9, part B. So you are planted, placed in another area, because you are trusting and relying on God or the Lord, because he is your master. He is your ruler. He's got his hands on you. That's what the bless means. He's got his hands on you. And through his hands, You will have nourishment and security, and you will be stable. You will be firm. You will not be leaning to your own understanding. You will be supported by him in his hands. Hallelujah. He plants you by the water so that you will grow and be nourished, have security, which would yield fruits that will not die, fruits that will continually produce because you relied on his will, fruit from your life that will be shown because you allowed his blessed hand to rule you, due to the fact you allowed the experience of the master's life for you. This concludes Teaching Hour with Ambassador Wyatt. And remember, Jesus is Lord.